Hi, I'm John Swartz. In this program, you're going to see a fascinating story and get a look at what could turn out to be a piece of artwork that all Orillians could be proud of. I'm talking about a statue that will soon be installed in Orillia's Tudhope Park to celebrate Orillia's and Canada's favorite son, Gordon Lightfoot. This story starts in August of 2014 when I spotted an item on a Orillia City Council closed session agenda about a monument in Tudhope Park. And that's not something one would normally see on a closed session agenda, so I paid a little bit more attention to it. And by November, I had a pretty good idea what it was about, and Gordon Lightfoot himself confirmed it to me in a telephone conversation on Christmas Eve. In this hour, we'll go behind the scenes with the sculptor, Timothy Schmaltz, at his St. Jacob's studio and see some of the process of creating the statue. We'll also speak with some of Gord's contemporaries about why a statue is necessary. And we're also going to speak to people that run the festival that Gord holds in high regard, the Mariposa Folk Festival. But first, let's meet the person charged with preparing the site in Tudhope Park where the statue will be installed, John Bryant of Orillia's Parks and Recreation Department.
This is a concept which the artist has prepared for the initial alignment of putting the sculpture on the point at Tudhope Park. And what we're proposing to do is to try to get it located in this very prominent location. And we've just recently undertaken some soils investigation. What we find is that surprisingly, this site is very stable. It's got a silty, hard clay, which is really good for putting in a monument in the base we're going to do. The city's role at the first stage of this is to prepare a structural slab, and that will be enabled for the monument to be mounted onto the pad. The sculpture itself weighs about a ton and a half, so we have to make sure that it's structurally sound. So we'll be putting the concrete pad in, elevating it slightly about 2.5 feet, so that we give the sculpture a little more prominence, and at the same time not block the view of the water, because the background to the sculpture is just absolutely amazing. Well, the project, we're going to break it into two different phases. The first phase that the city will be doing is to do the structural slab and get it installed. Shortly after Mariposa, we hope to have it contracted and to start to have the slab installed should be done by August. And then they can do the actual placement of the sculpture when that date is determined. So we're hoping to have our work done this fall. The second phase that the city is doing is that we're working with the Mariposa Folk Foundation and doing a master plan update for the park. This park has been deemed a celebration park, so we're going to be investigating the different activities that happen in the park, all the infrastructure, electrical, sewer, the trails, everything. And part of that deal is to revisit the first installation and do a more elaborate landscape, a more pedestrian-friendly landscape, so that we can have benches and flowers and things installed. So what we want to do is make sure we get the initial installation done and then build from that. It depends on what the master plan says, but we anticipate that we're going to really improve the benches, the landscape. We'll hope to introduce lighting for the sculpture so it's lit up at night and take advantage of how people use this space. Well, I've had more difficult projects to undertake, but again, part of the enjoyment of doing the project is all the pieces. How do you put the puzzle together? So we're collaborating with the artist to make sure that once we install the slab, what we're doing is going to be sending him a template of the bolting pattern. So when we build the slab, it's 100% bang on, and he can have the sculpture hoisted and then mounted onto the plates that are already pre-approved. So we're going to work very closely with the artist to make sure that all the puzzle pieces fit exactly as they should.
Tudhope Park in Orillia, where the statue will reside, has been the home of the Mariposa Folk Festival since 2000. Gordon Lightfoot headlined that festival and helped to re-establish Mariposa in Orillia. And he's played the festival many times since.
I can't say it's about time, but it certainly is a great honor to him and well deserved for what he has contributed. If you talk to any of the Canadian musicians on whether it's the folk scene or even rock musicians, will tell you how Gordon Lightfoot was so influential. Jim Cuddy, for example, talks about how he sat and learned how to play the guitar by playing Gordon Lightfoot songs. So that's the kind of tribute. The fact that they're putting a statue up to him is just, it's sort of the way it should be, especially in his hometown of Orillia.
The leadership of Mariposa had to keep the news of the statue quiet for several months.
It was extreme excitement. What a tribute to a Canadian folk icon, one of Orillia's own. Gord is certainly a very humble man and a humble artist, but I can't help to think that he's hugely pleased to have that kind of tribute to his whole body of work. And I think the recognition will mean a lot to Gordon and to the community of Orillia. And, we always have to be conscious of, or I do in particular, in recognizing people for their contributions, whether it's on a volunteer basis or a professional basis. But the contribution to arts and culture is so important to society as a whole. The monument that's in development or production now will rival anything that we've got in the city as well as other communities. It's a large structure, it's a large art project, and I think it's just a fitting tribute to Gordon Lightfoot.
So are you going to look ahead to 2016's festival when the monument's actually in place and plan something around that? Maybe formally invite Gord to come and do a night kind of thing, all up in the air? Or is that an idea that you might cash in on with the fact that the monument will be in place by then?
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for planting the idea. We'll talk it over. The board of directors makes those kinds of decisions, but that's definitely it's almost a no-brainer to do something like that.
You're always open to ideas.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So the Rush acoustic set that we keep talking about, that's still percolating?
Sure, we'll talk about it. Yeah. No, I think, and I know that Gord thinks so much of the festival himself. Like he just always praises it and talks about it often. Mm-hmm. I can see that if we did plan something, I think there would probably be a pretty good chance that he would show up and do something.
Still to come, Lightfoot's contemporaries tell us why they're in favor of casting Gord in bronze.